Rick's revolution thing. And I feel like so much of that applies very much to salespeople. Like responsibility wise, we have outlined very clearly what we want you to do as a business, but we want to give you the freedom to get there. Like it's not about micromanaging once you get there. Because there are sales reps that honestly, if you get pretty good at your job, you get pretty comfortable in your sales pitch and you can close pretty well, like you can hit a lot of your numbers, not working 40 hours a week.
Hey, Stephanie, so good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ricky. It's exciting to be here. I'm sad I forgot my hat. I should have gotten the memo.
Oh, you didn't get the memo?
We can definitely pause while you get a hat. It's no problem.
Perfect one. Hold on.
Yeah, bring it on.
Oh, just a little turned up here.
Oh,
It's tricky.
man.
So
Here you go.
I see.
It's hilarious. Hey, so now that you've kicked it off with sales, we obviously will come back to that. Before we go there, Stephanie, how did you get into tech? Give us the whole rundown.
So I grew up in Dallas, Texas, which there is some tech there now, more than there used to be. But I went to university in New York. And when I was in university, I did the thing that a lot of people do, which is not know what they want to do after they finish university. But I did know that I wanted to move to California and be in the tech industry because there was this like great dream of San Francisco and tech. And in university, to like further explain how much I didn't know what I wanted to do, is I triple majored. I had 3 majors in chemistry, biology, and art history. This is a real thing.
Proper nerd.
Yeah.
Top nerd. Nerd.
So when you drew your equations and stuff out, that was very neat and beautiful and artistic and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I won, and this is really funny, in college, I got my honors in chemistry too. And this is like Cornell University. We have the most Nobel Prize winners in chemistry at that university. It's like insane. I got my honors in chemistry and I won an award for the best honors thesis. And I was like, how did I win the award? Like my research was completely terrible. Like I spent a year doing research and found no conclusions. Like it was just awful. And it turns out
what were you researching on?
Like a real scientist.
Yes. On what page?
Like a real professor. Oh,
Exactly. There was no conclusion.
Right.
But I won the award because I was the only person who could present anything in that group of people. This is.
I know you're laughing about this, but I have a law degree and a degree in genetic engineering. Because like you, I also did not know what the hell I wanted to do when I finished school, and so I did 2 degrees at the same time, and I was going to go become a doctor, and then I realized I'm not real good at going to university and school and attending classes or doing any work, so I just was a lawyer.
So what you're saying is
lawyer. We got to have maybe have a sidebar on this. It sounds like a really fascinating story.
So I went from lawyer to CEO of software companies. Like I said, I'm running your journey. I didn't know what I was going to do. Just went, and off I went.
Yeah. So I had a dream of going into tech. And I took a visit out to San Francisco once before I packed everything up in the car and fell in love with the cool air and the people I was meeting out here and how everyone was so forward thinking and everyone was innovating to the 9th degree. And it was like, I found it a really inspirational place to be. And I found all this technology that was coming out super fascinating. And I wanted to join the revolution. So I had $2,000 in my bank account and a really old Honda Civic, and I moved everything out to the Bay Area, and I just applied to a million places to try to figure out who would hire me, and found myself in sales, and that's how I started my sales career. So I've been in love ever since.
What was your first role in sales?
So I worked for this company called Capital Asset Exchange and Trading. They still exist. I was a trader there. So you would buy and sell assets and commodities in the secondary semiconductor industry. Feels like a mess.
We've had Alka, who's the CFO at Gainsight. She's that's what she was into.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Like the hardware side of things, the semiconductor side of things is still like very prevalent here in the Bay Area. There's hardware and software. And where are you on this? Yeah.
So
I'm like, that's in me. I'm just wishing I bought NVIDIA shares like 20 years ago. That's where I am on the hardware side.
Yeah. So you've gone from there to now global VP of sales at PandaDoc.
Yep.
Connect the dots for us. What were the next steps? How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, I worked for that company for a while. I helped open an international office for them. I came back, I looked at myself in the mirror, and realized I was working a lot. I've seeked out a few times in my career as places where I can get great work-life balance. I eventually found myself at Glassdoor, where I was there for about 10 years and went from, it was about 7 million when I started to about 400, just over 400 when I left, 400 million. So it was this big, long journey of growth and development at that company. I love Glassdoor. I still have a lot of love in my heart for it.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see this little tiny baby that you have grow up to be such an amazing company. From there, I wanted to go back to smaller organizations. So I spent a couple of years as a chief revenue officer at Series B and Series C startups in the area, and then found myself also once again seeking a wonderful work-life balance and found myself here at PandaDoc running our global sales team.
Nice. Take us back to Glassdoor. You said you loved it. You were there for 10 years.
Yes.
If you would have,
Shy of that.
and
I'm rounding up.
okay, close to 10 years. What was the biggest takeaway from your
Oh,
time at
God.
Glassdoor?
It's not the strongest or fastest species that survives, but the ones that can adapt the fastest. Charles Darwin. I don't think I can claim that because Darwin's.
I mean,
You can claim it.
it came out of your mouth on the podcast. Yeah, you can claim it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
we made it, and as like companies grow and jump S curves many times, that a lot of those curves that we jumped, we just adapted really quickly. Like we noticed a problem that was inherent in our company. We made a lot of changes to try to fix the problem. Nothing was ever perfectly thought through, but we made a lot of action. That we experimented a lot as we went. So,
And how did your role evolve during that period?
I started there as the very first enterprise account executive that they hired as an individual contributor.
Wow. Okay.
And I left running their SMB division, which was the largest division, and our office in Chicago, which had about 400 people.
Wow.
Very nice. Yeah, a lot of global development. We changed a lot during that time frame. So my role changed in a few different directions during that time.
It'd be good to dig dive that a little bit. Like it's a really good point that you bring up. Like we spend a lot of time in startups and early stage scale ups, and that's how we're attempting to give back and spend time with those sort of people. I think one of the things you find is that a lot of talk about planning and building and getting everything right. But I think the reality is to be successful, a lot of it is action, right? Making moves, doing things, having a go at something and being okay to make a mistake and then pivot from that point on. What's a few things you can think of that helped you guys get into that mindset and actually do it well? Because some people take that and just go and spray and pray everything and go, oh crap, I've done 1,000 things and I haven't grown anywhere. That obviously doesn't work either.
Oh gosh, there was a number of things that, and the things differed depending on the stage. Like early stage, like when we're call it sub 10 million, sub 20 million, you're still looking for like product market fit. So you're very much experimenting around with like products and packaging. And a big thing for us is we realized that we were overcomplicating a lot of sales, especially into medium-sized companies and smaller-sized companies. We had 3 products when I started. We had basically three products when I left there almost 10 years later. But the packaging of those 3 products changed really significantly. And one early discovery that we had was bundling things together to make this very easy to buy, like the full and complete package. We had a combination of subscription products and pay-per-performance products, which is complicated. So when you're trying to like pitch 2 different pricing models for 2 different products, same customer, we were early on. We were hitting a lot of just dead ends and confusion. When we figured out how to bundle everything together to make it super easy for people to understand and purchase the value at scale, that it started to really click overnight, especially scalable sales for our sales team. So that was a really big one. A little bit later on, then we're trying to how do we get like big enterprise customers to scale? When we figured out how to run like a proper proof of concept with our team, that unlocked a lot of possibilities. And we had some bad proof of concepts to start with too, where we were, one thing was like free proof of concepts. We tried that for a hot minute before we realized that you offer a free proof of concept to someone and they will never give you.
Yeah, it's pretty forever.
If we put skin in the game, they've got to put skin in the game too. It was a really interesting learning early on. Let's see. As our business scaled, it became a lot more important to scale a lot of the systems that we're dealing with. At one point, we were probably around 100 maybe around 100 million, or somewhere around there, before we realized that all of our account management teams are like renewing these agreements manually every single time. And we had no auto renewal system set up at all, which is, it's like funny to even think that we got that far with that process in place. And believe it or not, you'd think it would be like this very simple decision to like turn on a yes to. It seems like a very easy business decision, but it was not easy to make at that time because once you'd scale to a certain size, it's hard to move and adapt. I don't know. And then later, like we didn't even launch our self-service product until later. And that was a whole thing. Like we got to launch self-service to scale. We've got to do it. So that took a while to get off the ground too. A lot of learnings.
If I get this right, so you started off with enterprise, you moved to SMB and self-serve. So you basically were moving down the market, trying to capture it from,
Yeah,
And
very
what-
interesting.
yeah.
A lot of businesses start bottoms up. PandaDoc
Yes.
very bottoms up. We go bottoms up.
Yes.
Indeed, a competitor of Glassdoor's, bottoms up,
Yes.
very bottoms up. We started top down, which was much different. And the reason is because Glassdoor is powered by this like eyes looking at the page. Like you're interested, you've probably gone to Glassdoor, check out what people are saying about a company or about a job that you maybe are.
Yeah, me mostly.
About Ricky mostly. Even I mainly go read the stuff about Ricky.
Come on, man. I've been brushing up on my crayon skills now. They're
So
good.
true.
So the Glassdoor is give to get, right? Like a lot of these flywheels that are spun up. So you come to Glassdoor, you can't see all the reviews unless you give a review, right?
Yeah.
Once you give a review, you see everything on the site. Once you give a salary, you see everything on the site. So you've got a little give to get. So you're getting the most content from the places that have the most employees.
Yeah.
Those tend to be enterprise-sized businesses. Therefore, you're getting the most eyes and the most people paying attention to those pages that have the most visitors. Therefore, the employers, people that you're selling to, start to care the most in that category first, versus a really small company, 10 people, one person leaves a Glassdoor review. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I wonder who it was.
Oh,
Only
It
had one
wasn't me,
person
wasn't me.
leave.
I bet it wasn't me. Interesting. So the other thing you mentioned about was proof of concept. Don't give it away for free. I think everyone listening in will understand that to a point. But what is the right approach? Because even the companies that we're dealing with at the moment, guess what they do? They try and go, hey, we'll do this and we'll do all this extra bits and pieces for 3 months, and then nothing happens.
and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So, and that's a really interesting question, I think, with the way that a lot of like product-led sales has shifted over the last several years too, where there is an expectation that someone's going to get access to your product up front, right?
Yeah.
Even at PandaDoc, we offer everyone a 2-week free trial. Anyone can sign up, check out all of our business plan or enterprise plan features, all that they want for 2 weeks. But for a lot of enterprise businesses, like they need more than just someone in IT poking around in your product for 2 weeks. That might get the door open right now. Product led with that 2-week free trial might get the door open, but selling into enterprise size business, fully adopting a new product or a new piece of technology into that business should take a fair amount of commitment from a lot of people at the company, a lot of stakeholders, and then a lot of people at your company internally too. We tried this. How do you get stakeholder alignment? How do you get a mutual plan of attack? How do you get shared success criteria? And we tried that with free. Try this free for 3 months. And we found that even if you get great stakeholders, the right people in the room, try it free for 3 months. At the end of that 3-month period, there's nothing that's really committed this person to really seriously testing it out. So as soon as we started doing, and this was what we did at Glassdoor, I'm sure a million other companies do this too. So I don't think this is a trade secret or anything, but we would reduce the price by 50%. And we'd say, we'll put in 50%, you put in 50%, right? So if it was, I don't know, let's make up numbers, like $100,000 for 3 months, we'll say you pay 50, we'll pay 50, right? And then we're meeting the customer where they are. And when you outline the success criteria of the pilot, everyone's ears are turned on a lot more. So you're getting some baseline level of commitment from that customer to move forward. And also, like, it does help prime the pump, especially for enterprise sales, where you've got to go through InfoSec and go through legal and go through payroll, et cetera.
Yeah, I like that. What we used to do was say, hey, if you then do a trial for 3 months, it's basically you signing up a contract. If you want to get out, we will invoice you. If you don't, we'll just roll it in. It's part of the contract.
Yeah.
Those 3 months are free. But there's got to be an expectation in return.
Yeah. That was another really important learning that we got along the way. Was not just paid, but like you have to attach the conversion on the end of that agreement.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. If you're going to start, then you go through procurement and everything else after this. Yes, one person in this company is happy. I'm like, I want to use this. Cool. Sign this. Oh, no, I can't. It's going to go to legal. It's going to go this. And you're like, oh, great. I actually haven't sold this at all. I haven't got anywhere. So, no, I think that's a huge hit.
Exactly.
Steph, coming back to you, you mentioned something already a couple of times about work-life balance.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? Why is that important?
Oh gosh. I think like probably a lot of us in the tech industry, maybe a lot of people that you talk to too, are like kind of workaholics in our heart of hearts. You too are probably workaholics in your heart. No,
Well, yes, I'm not.
I'm 100% workaholic.
Ricky is 100%.
Yeah.
We're like visibly addicted to what we do.
Yes.
And
I worked once. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Contrast.
and I think that's a blessing and a curse sometimes. And I've had to check myself on occasion to see what am I doing right now? And is this going towards my greater purpose in life? And am I doing the right thing? And I think like right now and more recently, I have 2 kids. I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old boys.
Yeah.
We're
All in the same camp.
Yep.
Really same age.
Yeah. 10 and 7.
Pretty, 10 and 9 and 6.
You
10,
should
9,
know,
6.
man. Why are you guessing?
Because I'm old. 10, 9, 6 and all boys. Same as you.
All
All
boys.
boys.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ricky's got to go.
Boy and a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the one.
How about you?
Are you going to the girl? Are you doing have a number 3 so you have a good night?
Yeah. I have 2 girl dogs. That's what it belongs to.
Yeah.
We had 2 boys and went, I'm sure we'll get a girl third time. You don't get a girl third time. You get another boy.
Okay. Yeah, you do. That's what will happen, which is why I have the girl dogs.
Yeah.
I think like when the pandemic hit and everyone switched from working in the office to working at home, I think for my kids in that period, it was very challenging because they like had one going to kindergarten right when the pandemic hit and another who was like just a couple years behind in preschool. And I think what was really interesting is like having me at home was great, but it also was, they saw me, mommy, like working on work more, not like paying attention to them as children. So I had a great work-life balance when you're in the office and you're at home, because when you're in the office, you got to be like fully in the office and not care about anything. When you're at home, I really tried to be fully and completely at home, not like checking my phone all the time, not, negotiating with reps on deals at 10 o'clock at night. I try to be fully present as a mom parent. And when the pandemic hit, they saw me not being present with them. They saw me being like, please, some Legos on the side over here, please.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that made me really seek out like that over a couple of years after the pandemic really made me really seek out opportunities where I could turn off at the end of the day and then go pay attention with them, go play with them or hang out with them more. So,
oh my God, there's a lot here. So you're a person who prefers to work in office where possible.
I don't know about that. I don't know anymore. I don't know. We all went fully remote with pandemic. And then I went back to the office at one point with a different company 3 days a week. And I thought that would be perfect, like wonderful to get back in. And I found like the grass is really greener always on the other side, and to just be like very grateful for what you have right now. And gosh, that like 45-minute commute is way harder than it used to be before. So.
Yeah. Once you had that taste of you can get up at 1 minute before this podcast and whack a t-shirt on and damn, you're doing it. It's a lot different when you have to drive to get to work.
Isn't it 11 o'clock there? Isn't it?
Let's not judge me in what time I get out of bed. It is 11 o'clock in the morning.
11? 11.
11.
Wow. What time do you stay awake?
He's missing out. He's got 2 boys. He's up at 4 a.m.
I already taken the kids to school early this week. I was awake. But it is, I'm a very much in office person, but I've been out of office for over a year, and I quite like my routine now where I can log in, work in there, as that makes sense, and obviously still be present with the kids. It's getting that balance is quite difficult of when they're at home from school, then it's how do you log off and do that? That's the bit I find challenging.
Yeah. This is, and not everyone has this, so I hate to say it, but like a privilege of having a separate space in your house or a separate space to go to work. Like at my little office where I'm in right now is connected to our garage. So that is
Yeah.
Nice.
game changer that it is not in the main house.
Yeah.
So
That's a good tip. That's a
Yeah,
huge tip.
that is a good tip.
Yeah.
I should
This
do
is
that one day.
here, and then life is just straight out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, you only need an office when you actually have to work.
Good point. Yeah, but I like this somewhere else every now and then.
So you don't need a separate space to.
I need a thinking space where my children are. That's what I need.
Yeah. Fair point. Yes.
You go.
No,
No, there you go. I'm just going to deep dive more on this. I find
keep
this
going.
interesting.
Keep going.
Because I find the fact that you've made decisions in your careers driven around work-life balance, I think is really interesting, because you've still obviously gone hugely successful in everything you've done, but you haven't let success be the dictator of how you've chosen career journeys. You've driven a lot of it around being a parent and also work-life balance.
Yeah.
Do you think has it cost you opportunities, or has it actually committing to the things you want still led you to pretty high levels of achievement? So
But you don't
do you feel like you missed out on anything?
Yeah. Yes. But are those things the things that I want?
Yeah.
That's like the question that you probably have to ask yourself at the end of the day. I don't know. For sure. There's a lot of opportunities that you've got to think, man, if I accepted that, or if I went down that path, or if I decided to work until midnight every single night, I'm sure there's other things. But are those, I don't know, is that the meaning of life?
We're the wrong person to ask, because I've been on that. I was a CEO. Now I'm not a CEO. And when I looked back after I finished, I was like, do I want to go do that again? I'm like, not really, because it's a lot and you miss out on a huge amount of things. So I'm like, how can I still get the buzz I get out of doing what I do, but in a way that's more healthy for the rest of my life? And that's what I've been on my journey yet. Like, I resonate with what you're saying, because I went down the other path for a while, and now I'm going back towards your path, and you've done amazing things and been able to stay true to that, which I think is really cool.
I think you have to find the thing that that you love to do, that you like, you get up excited to do the thing that you're doing every day. If you can find that, then keep doing it. Just keep doing it, because that is like really a big gift that you should continue. If you like wake up and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to work. Something's wrong.
So like, how old are your kids again? So then my last question on this point, as a leader of people, how do you work this philosophy into how you lead your people? If that's too important a question, you don't want to answer it, you can just say,
no, I think every person who has a role at a company, every company does something. It all has to be very mission driven. I'm a big fan of, you have to know your why. You have to understand your place in the world. You have to understand that your contributions really mean something every single day, and be able to start to connect the dots. So us in sales, I know we have these amazing hats and we try to get to our number, but and we're like constantly stressed and worried about, did we close the revenue? Did we not close the revenue? But then at the end of the day, like, the things that we're offering as a business, the products that we're selling, are they helping people? Are they helping companies? Especially in B2B SaaS. Like, it's super interesting, because you get so many companies are like optimizing how people do work or why people do work. PandaDoc is really cool because it's all about workflow efficiency, which is awesome to be able to optimize a lot of processes for companies and streamline their workflows. And every time we get to sell a product, we get to see that realized in a customer. And I think for team members, like, having a really clear understanding that it's more than just a number, it is like helping companies and helping people. And sometimes it's hard to see when you've got people that are like trying to hit their quotas, but as much as you can remind your people that on a really regular basis, and remind them the impact that they're making in the world and the impact that they're making on other companies, the better.
You're back.
I'm back. Oh no, how long was I gone?
It will upload, but it's just we miss it. So I think your answer was great. It sounded amazing to the point it froze. So
I guess I'm going to just a little bit more on this. You can cut it out, Ricky, if you need to.
That's it. As long as this line.
And we can cut whatever we want anyway. So you just tell us if you don't want to know that. Towards the end of our journey, one of the things we brought in was a really flexible working environment, including a 4-day work week and a whole bunch of others.
Oh gosh.
Sales was a complex area to actually apply flexibility.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's heavily numbers driven, right? If there's one role in a company that you can really clearly go, you're doing a bad job because it's sales, because people look at a number and then they can throw sticks at people. It's a lot easier than in some other areas. I think Ricky and I both had lots of debates and arguments and discussions about how do you apply some of the really cool things you can do for support and success and devs and things to people like sales who are generally self-motivated, hungry to go do stuff. And you're trying to build this. Well, are there other things you do for your team that, because a lot of them are self-motivated, they're already driving out. There are other things that you can do to still make them understand how important that part of life is. I hate the word work-life balance, but work-life balance.
I mean,
Integration.
the 4-day work week. Yeah, that's a good try for salespeople. No, I think it's difficult because so much of what you work on is so driven by your customers' timelines and like creating that sense of urgency and creating that sense of hunger. And like the fact that if you're a sales rep, there's like a number looming over you every month, every quarter, every year. And that is the nature of the job. It's like, how do I get there? It's difficult. It's very difficult to understand the things that you can do as a leader to help promote better work-life balance, though, are not tracking your sales team at 9:00 at night, asking for the details of a deal. That's pretty obvious. Like cheering each other on, right? Making sure when there is a big win, that story is shared. It's like understanding people are way more than just the work and getting more of them really personally, and understanding that they're probably working towards goals in and outside of work too. I don't have a great answer to you on like, how do you get the 4-day work?
Actually, you did.
You don't.
No, you did have a really good question, because I think that is the actual answer. If you're looking at them as people and you understand what their goals are, and then your goal as a leader of those revenue people is to help them achieve their goals, both for the company's perspective and for them, then I think sales is the optimum 4-day week, because how you complete your week as a salesperson is really up to you, right?
Yeah.
If your people hit your number, you're happy. If they did it in 2 days and their personal goals is hit in those 2 days and the company goes in the 2 days, then you're pretty fine with that as long as they've got pipeline, all the other things they got to do. But and the way you get comfortable is you know them as people, you understand what they're trying to achieve, and you know that they understand what the company needs them to achieve and why that has such a big impact. And so I think it's a hard one to describe, but I think the things you do is what makes people successful in that area. You're not pressuring them to work. You're not going, oh, cool, you hit your number. But you could have got 5 times that number if you'd worked 15 hours, 15 hours extra every day. I used to do Ricky. Like I used to do Ricky every week. So it's the call.
Only on quarterly basis at board meetings.
Have you heard of the freedom and responsibility model?
Yeah.
Rick's revolution thing. And I feel like so much of that applies very much to salespeople, where that it is your number. Responsibility wise, we have outlined very clearly what we want you to do as a business, but we want to give you the freedom to get there. It's not about micromanaging once you get there. Because there are sales reps that honestly, if you get pretty good at your job, you get pretty comfortable in your sales pitch and you can close pretty well, like you can hit a lot of your numbers, not working 40 hours a week. And I would never go and yell at my top performers and say, you're not working 40 hours a week. I'd say, congratulations, you're crushing your numbers. Like, how do we get you even more? Working with them from that perspective.
Just raise that quota.
Yes.
End of the month, or the following month. Your quota's now going up by 2.5.
Already know as a sales rep, this is what's challenging. That's what 2 years looks like. Maybe you can get there, no problem, pretty easily above and beyond on 30 hours a week. But if you're starting as a sales rep, you're in the first 6 months, the first 9 months, like you're probably hustling like twice as hard during that time, learn and adapt as quickly as possible to get there. So
I would apply that to every role. Like even if it's support, like to get your head around the product you're doing, like you got learning to do. You're working your day on the phone, you're going to go learn.
And your stripes.
And your stripes. So you got to do a bit of hard work in life, unless you're.
That's true.
Unless you're just rocking at CEO. It's just first jobs as a CEO.
Fantastic.
Steph's now. So
work for your company. Which would you start next there?
We'll tell you next week.
There's a reason. There's lots of good reasons why I do what I do now.
So, Steph, going back to your younger self dream of doing it big in tech scene and Bay Area, have you lived up to those expectations in your own head? Have you exceeded those expectations? Has the dream come true for you?
No. I used to have this dream to be a CEO of a company here. And I don't know if I'm like quite ready to say probably not anymore. But as the more that I learn, the more that I'm very happy with
content.
Content. I'm very content right now. And I think that I'm very interested to see how this tech community continues to evolve over the next couple of years. I think we have so much has happened in the last year and a half that's been very interesting, dynamic. Yet again, going back to that evolution, how do you adapt? How do you get through? And then we've got AI coming in, and this is like this whole new wave of possibilities that is glittering, sparkling things are showing up. So I'm interested to see where it evolves. I'm not content from the perspective of, yeah, this is it, but I'm eager to see where it goes from here.
If it helps, when you are ready to retire, it's actually not that expensive to set up an LLC, and you can call it Steph's AI Bitcoin Adventures. And then you can put on LinkedIn, you're the CEO of that thing, and you've achieved your
There you go.
Your ultimate goal.
Just CEO of my life right now.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
I don't know. I think that would be like still a fun adventure, but it would have to like really be the right thing, the right time.
Hey, Steph, another one. A lot of listeners are quite interested in, for whatever reason, this is one of the feedbacks we get. They want to know what a week looks like for guests that pop on the show. So what does a typical week for Stephanie look like? I know it changes, especially in sales towards the end of the month and in a quarter, but just maybe give us a bit of a cadence.
Yeah. It's a lot of meetings. I think I averaged 42 hours a week in
Back
meeting
to back.
other people.
Yeah.
So for me, I think I'm like a big proponent of you've got to create a system of regular review of the right metrics at the right time to help deliver the right performance. So if you're not looking at it or you're ignoring it, you've got to bake it in to your weekly operating rhythm so that you can see and surface those insights at the right time. So for us at PandaDoc, we do a lot of this pretty well. Right now, we've got a lot of operational rhythm baked in nicely. So like reviewing a lot of metrics Monday is usually what we call it. So like let's look at all the metrics. I'm sure a lot of companies do the same thing. That's always really important. There's a couple of kind of key meetings for feedback throughout the week. I try to keep like a really strong pulse on the ground of probably tack on a lot of extra one-on-one feedbacks, like time with the rep, time understanding with our customers, time understanding with our prospects, listening. I did listen to an absurd amount of gong calls, that type of stuff to try to keep like a really close pulse on what's happening at the ground level.
What about last week of every month or every quarter? Like intensity is 10x, right? So what happens then?
You're adding extra hours on the front and the back end. Not only are all those normal things happening because it's not end of month for the rest of the company, right? It's just end of month for the sales team. But then you've got like from 10 different angles, people are, hey, can I do this? Hey, what about this idea? Hey, I've got this suggestion or thing. So you're just like, you're mildly firefighting, trying to keep a cool, calm head as you charge on, trying to figure out how you can continue to keep the team really motivated during that time frame too.
Yeah, a lot of buzzer beaters.
And then Friday, the first of the month. So it's just getting the timing really right. We got an extra day in February this year, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So that was very nice to have.
Did the targets go up?
The first of the month Friday is always like,
right.
Like not a good
Extra day. Yes. Yeah.
No, have to work a million hours. I hope the people on our team got to take a breath on that Friday too. So,
and what about the future of PandaDoc? What are you excited about? You mentioned AI, but what's happening in 2024?
I'm really excited. Like AI is very fascinating and interesting. That's one of the things I'm excited about. I'm been really excited about our product and about all the things that it can do. Like our product is so cool at PandaDoc because it can replace so many parts of document management, document creation, e-signature. I'm in love with all of the different things that our products can do and how we can streamline a lot of workflows. I'm very excited about the future and to see where we develop from here. I think it's a really interesting time for it in the market right now. Let's see. I'm excited for international growth. I'm excited to see our product continue to develop. We've been getting a lot of really interesting developments on APIs, on contract lifecycle management, which has been super fascinating to see. A lot of like great developments on the configure price quote too. So being able to win against a lot of those use cases has been really fun to work
nice. Shaping up to be a big year.
Pressure on me. I know you said John.
Big year to help people optimize their workflows and create better solutions for themselves and their companies. So helping people.
You may have answered this already, but let's ask again in a proper fashion. When you then do decide to hang up your boots, Stephanie, What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your
Oh.
legacy to be?
I've said this before. I want on my gravestone to be like, left it better than she found it. I don't know what that, like, I just want to,
Left the world in a better place?
left the world in a better place.
Yeah.
Left the world in a better place. I don't know. I think that I think to be able to live that, you have to, and working in tech, you have to think about who you're working for. What are we doing? How are we helping people? And then how am I helping this company and helping further that mission, further that narrative? So
Nice.
Everything you said today has resonated with that concept. So I think you're on your way.
Definitely. I would love to take you through a quick fire round. We
Sure.
Here's the
ask
fun bit.
every
Here's the
week-
fun bit.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Favorite sports team?
I don't do a lot of, unlike a lot of salespeople, I'm not like a biggest sports
Anything?
fan.
School?
No.
College? Kids sports?
It could be nil. You can just say,
Oh, you can just say
That'll be fine too.
piss off.
I love figure skating. I love
There you go.
figure-
Oh,
But yeah,
So-
figure skate.
biggest favorite sports team, figure skating would be.
Tony Harding.
Nice.
There we go.
Cody,
Is that us? Harding.
You
That's
made
fair
it
enough. No, she's a figure skater. Wasn't she a figure skater?
Ah, you named a figure skater. Good job.
Yeah.
did you just
Good
Google
work.
it?
No, didn't she stab someone or kill someone? Yes, there you go.
It wasn't it was like, it's hard to describe. She didn't do it. It was like maybe a friend who
right.
did it. And there was never really
All right.
for
There was a TV. There was a movie. I'm sure my wife watched it.
striking, but
Dude, it was just like a favorite sports question. You took it all somewhere else.
Hey, I named one. You didn't know who they were.
What about favorite music genre, Steph? What do you listen to? What's on your playlist?
right now it's like a lot of, so I run. So it's a lot of like pop fitness is on replay when I'm running.
Is that a thing? Pop fitness.
If you search like Apple Music for pop fitness, you could find it's like happy, positive songs
yeah.
that you're like working out to. And
This is the first top fitness show we've had.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I don't know. It's either, I'd like
Yeah.
to say like my music taste stopped when I had kids. That was the one thing that just went away. I'm
Yeah.
frozen in time
Yes.
for when I
Yeah,
had
I
kids.
have to. Yeah,
Yes.
also agreed. All really
Yeah.
true.
What about this one then? Favorite movie of all time?
Love Actually. And I say that
Oh,
with
yeah.
kind of a question mark at the end because it hasn't aged all that well. So I should probably change my answer at some point. So
At some point.
Love
Like,
Actually.
no,
No, it's a classic.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Favorite place to visit?
Big Sur. And when you come down,
Oh, yeah.
wait, we're down in Big Sur. Yeah. I just think it's like this wild edge of the
Yeah.
world.
We've never been.
no,
No?
we
It's
haven't.
come up a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Never been.
Go to Big Sur. Just spend the day going down there. Well, you're here. It's just a couple
Maybe on
hours.
Sunday.
Just
maybe.
drive down.
Why not?
The wild edge of the Western world is like the Big Sur's tagline. If you go to the
Is it?
Yeah, nice.
Is it a good pub there?
No, it doesn't. It's very quiet down there. So
We could go for a walk.
or what? Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, last one, Steph. So you're now on this, let's fix it, right? You're on your own. You've been given 2 jars. Both are peanut butter. One says crunchy. The other one says smooth. No branding. So don't get into all the branding and stuff. It's organic. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You can only pick one.
It's crunchy.
Smooth or crunchy.
Crunchy.
100%. Oh, see?
There's-
I knew
There
she was
was
going to be
some,
right
there was
straight
some
away.
doubt. There was some doubt. Steph answer. Crunchy.
Really? Where
Team
did
crunchy.
you think I would land?
I knew
I don't
you
know.
would be
It's
crunchy.
just- yeah,
Or-
I don't know. I don't know.
She
No.
makes good life decisions her whole life. She's not going to choose smooth all of a sudden randomly in the end.
My kids do smooth, which means we have smooth in the house though. So that
Yeah.
I just
Same.
never bought smooth, so my kids have never seen smooth. They don't know it exists.
they only know crunchy.
They would, man. At
Yeah.
school. To other kids.
You don't have peanut butter at school, man. It's because nuts in it.
What-
Our kids can, but they just can't share it.
Mm.
Oh, we're not allowed to take peanut butter
Oh,
at
you're not
school
allowed to
at
take-
all.
What is
'cause-
your point about the smooth people versus the crunchy people?
Oh, fuck.
We are collecting data.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah.
We're not quite ready to publish that yet. But they're
And a sneak
Yeah.
peek on the data.
smooth and like smooth people are weird. Like,
This is pretty done. Yeah.
on that note, we better stop recording. Thanks again, Steph, for coming on and sharing all your wisdom. This has been incredibly fun.
Thank you, Steph.
Thanks, Ricky. Thanks, Shane.